Okay. Do you know what is randomizer effect? You can tell me. Anybody? Okay. So you must have seen a lot of, yeah.
Random questions or something like pop up and you can guess this like this. So कुछ
Mhm.
random pick आती है तो हमें उसको guess करना है और ऐसा कुछ random number आता है random questions आते हैं.
Right. Yeah. So basically, questions are generally, yeah, they can be random as well. Mostly they randomize the answers. So basically, what happens is that it was kind of a trend for a very long time that they would give you something on your head, like what kind of how your 2021 is going to be, what are you going to become in 2021. So this is the question, and they will say press and record for some time. When you press and record, there would be like some options going on, like you will be a software engineer, art creator, you'll go to Delhi, you'll go to Bombay, you'll go to America, like some options, and then it stops at one option randomly, right? Then that sort of 10 to 15 seconds video is getting viral everywhere. People are trying it because two things: it has a sense of surprise because nobody knows what is going to be come like in the end, so sense of
How
surprise.
many followers something in next year or something like that.
Right. So such topics, and then like um yeah, how likely are you to, when are you getting married, what age are you
Yeah.
getting married, so like
Who will
most,
your partner do like something like
yeah, so there can be like lot of such combinations. Depends on creativity, what you are going to build. So basically, the concept behind all of these filters is very easy, I tell you now. So since we have done 3 classes, I'm sure we can finish it in 5 minutes. Like, it's so simple. All right. But you see that, and let me tell you, like, if some brand comes to me, I would charge them a good amount of money because this is years of practice which let you make such filters. It's your imagination, it's your creativity and everything. But when it comes to logic, it's not really that hard. It's very simple. All right. So I'm going to delete this queue because we don't need it anymore. We have talked about logics. We have talked about how to add patches, how to do mathematics here. So let's say a concept of randomizer effect is that there would be a randomization for, there would be a question first. A question would be shown, right? So what we would do is that we'll make a question first, then we'll wait for 5 seconds or maybe 8 seconds. Okay, 8 seconds to randomize things and to show them options. To show them options. So first is, and then after showing the options, then we'll stop at one. That would be our final effect. Okay, so yeah, so let's say what I want to do is that I want to show a question first. Okay, so question is a plane usually, like I can add a plane. So I'll add a null object for the first time, and then I'll say like I should have a plane. This would hold a question, and I can just write it as holder now. And since we kind of want to track the face, although it's not necessary, but if you want to, you can put it inside the face, so it's like tracking the face now. All right. um you can make it bigger, smaller. You can choose to do those things. I usually don't go from here, but it's easier. So anyway, all right. So if you want to show something here, we'll definitely show. All right. And this question guy should have a material, and this material would be usually met and the object name. All right. And our object is what? A plane, which is a question's name is question. So it's easier to track. I want it flat, and now I can apply some textures to it. Or so earlier, what used to happen that there was a static policy. So people don't want to go for like images, text, static text. So they would always go for images like PNG images. They would create in Photoshop or Figma and then import those images and put it as a texture here. So if you have any pictures here, you can like directly just import it. And don't think I have any pictures in this laptop. It's brand new. All right. It's okay. We can do an alternative way to do this. Let's add a canvas here. And this canvas is the entire thing, okay? But if I put this canvas into world space, then it is kind of free from these boundaries, because right now it is in camera space. So wherever my camera goes, this is just gonna follow like with the camera. But if I put it in the world space, it is free to do whatever now it's kind of revolving with the face. Yeah, the rectangle, the canvas. The canvas can hold a rectangle and all the other 2D objects like 2D text. And this text, I'm gonna remove this plane for now. This text, I'm gonna write like, what kind of creator are you? Okay. Again, we can adjust the positions, just pause it and try to drag it where you want to put it. And since right now its size is smaller, that is why it is not kind of coming in. What we can do is you can make it like fully like this. And so it's the center, and also you can adjust the font size to be, say, 14, or that's smaller, maybe 24. Okay. And say that what kind of creator are you? So, all right. Yeah.
Can we make in the two line like creator are you in the below? What kind of and creator are you? Second line. We can increase the font size. Like अगर हम second line दो line में लिखेंगे तो हम font size ज़्यादा increase कर सकते हैं.
Yeah. Maybe let's make it 28. Actually, that depends, actually depends. So I was not thinking to do that. But if you want to do it, you can do two ways. You don't have to, you can like kind of reduce the size and also increase the font by 36 or like 38.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could do that. You could do that. But I also don't want that. I don't want to make things so big that if the phone is so close, they're kind of cutting off, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So that is why I want to make sure that whatever I do is usable from a certain distance. Also from, like, nobody keeps the phone so close, but still like a safe distance, right? So I want to test it. So these guys are at the safe distance that we're seeing their portraits, but also like you can see my portrait. Okay. So I think if I have to
Yeah.
lean back a little. So, but I think this is a good distance for me right now. So I would choose it to like maybe 24, like that's like, what kind of creator are you? But yeah, you get the point, right? You can do that. All right, we have its position that we can manipulate as well. Like, let's say if you want to make some animation that you don't want it to be static, but like a little bit flowy all the time, then you can do some sort of position animation here. So let's make it a little detailed effect, okay? Because I really hope you can learn some tricks here. Where is my map? We didn't add anything, right? Okay, cool. I want to move this guy up and down a little bit. So what should I do? I should take out this position, and I would say that, hey, loop animation. Loop animation is an animation which runs on like every second. And when this happens, there should be a transition. Okay, the transition is that I want to transition some values from an end. So start to end. This guy is a 2D guy. He can only accept two inputs. So I would go and change it to two inputs only, like vector 3. You can have a color that you can transition from. You can have a number that you can transition from. You can have two numbers that you can transition. You can have 3 and 4, right? Like that. So right now I am at 19. Okay. Right now this thing is at 19 and this is 210. Remember, this 19 and 210 is always the proportionality in the, like, how big, how wide, and how long is your screen is. So these are 2D coordinates. Okay. When we talk about this is different coordinate system, when we talk about planes where we have value like 0 to 1, or like, because that is like, that is at the center. That coordination system is like, this origin is at the center. So if I take a null object right now, if I take a null object right now, this null object is situated in the middle. You see that it is situated in the middle, like, so this is 0 comma 0 for me. But if I take a rectangle, okay, if I take a rectangle, this is going to come not here, not here. If I take a rectangle in my camera scene, so first I have to take a canvas and then I can take a rectangle. So if I take a rectangle, it will come at the corner like here. Okay. And this is 100 by 100. This is by default. This is 100 and this is 100. So this center, the point, where I'm pointing at right now is my origin, 0 comma 0. So we have these differences here. Okay. And we can, obviously we can convert these guys interchangeably, but you should understand this difference because this is very useful in terms of how your effect is going to work on different devices. Again, we just imported this for an example. So we want to go from, right now we are at 19. So let's say we want to start from 19 and we go a little up and we come down, go a little up and come down. So from 19, if I want to go up, let's say if I go 25, now this is my X. So I'm not going anywhere in X. So I just keep it that static. In Y, I'm at minus 210. If I do minus 250, I will be that much up. So that's a lot of transition. But I as 210, maybe I'll do 220. All right. So that's a good distance for me. So I would go from minus 210. So why I did this is I just wanted to check, like, how much do I want to go up and down? And now I know that I just want to do is minus 210 to minus 220. And my start position of X should be 19 and my end should be 19 as well. So there is no change in the X direction. And if I connect this guy, this should be, this 19 is okay, but this is animating from 210 to 220 in every 1 second of time and looping it after every 1 second. Cool. So yeah, you see now this thing is moving without even moving my hand. Yeah. If I put it on mirror, then it will go up and it will come down. But this is not as smooth I wanted. Maybe give me in every 0.1 second, but that's so fast. Maybe give me in 2.5 seconds. And also a little bit of exponential smoothing. I don't want to confuse for that. Like, okay, so we got what we wanted right now, and then later on we'll optimize the effect. Okay, for now let's focus on the functionalities. So what kind of creator are you? All right, now how many people are we in the call? Everybody tell me what kind of creator they are in the text, and we are going to put those options here. So you have 1 minute to write that down in the text box. You can have one word, just one word, like maybe you're a procrastinator, maybe you're a innovator, maybe you are a active creator, maybe you're a lazy creator, maybe you're like that. So yep, I'm waiting. Quick guys, we don't have all the time. We're already late. You can use the chat box to tell me what kind of creator are you. Creative creator, all right. Innovative creator. We can't have two innovative creators. I mean, we can have all of us. All right, all right. Gamer, game creator, gamifying creator. All right. Cool, because ideation is important, and then this is like, I'm sure you guys would be working in teams, and so this is how you kind of ideate. You discuss things, you put it out, you kind of discuss. You have to be interactive. Like you should be try to actually be interactive in order to success. Okay, so this is so we have like four options. Let's say we're just going with four. Okay. Um, Actually, let's take one more. Anything else you want to go for? Maybe, yeah, a content creator. Good. Okay, so we have got five options. Okay, so our options are five, and then if I take this value out, this is my text value. I did it what when you were writing the name of the creator, the type of the creator. What I did was I brought out an option picker. Okay, option picker is you can have like from 1 to 32 options, and those options can be some particular numbers. They could be two vector numbers, three vector numbers, or there could be text, animation, data. There could be a lot of things. There could be sound as well, like 32 sounds. Why do we use it? Is to switch from one option to other option based on the interaction, based on the trigger. Okay, so we have these. So what I did was like took out the option picker, option center picker maybe, and so there are like these kind of datas here. Okay, and then you can choose anything that you want. I chose text because I was looking to pass this text to this guy. So this is the option picker for me right now, and this option picker holds a value the procrastinator. Why? Because by default it is zero option. All right. um cool. When I say that what kind of creator are you, this is initially it's there. What should happen is that if I screen tap, okay, if I screen tap, uh, this guy should go away. If I screen tap this guy should go away. So I should have I will keep it. So I'm going like step by step, like what are we building step by step. So our showing first task was like show the question. We showed the question, a little bit animated it. Now what we want to do is that if I screen tap, this question should go away. Okay, because I want to show options now, or maybe just take it somewhere else and then show some options right now and there. You can choose to show it, you can choose to hide it as well. That's totally on you, but we will go with hiding it, so you will always have option to show as well. So uh, I'll take out the screen tab and interaction, and when I screen tab, I should, this screen tab is a pulse. This is a pulse, like this pulse is going to give me a value every time I screen tap. So if I screen tap, you see this dot lighting up. Yeah. So if I screen tap, this should give me Because it's a pulse, I want to convert it to Boolean, so I would use a switch here. Okay, so this switch should turn off the visibility of this guy. Notice that we don't need this material anymore because we were not using any objects that would hold any texture or any colors. We could use that, but right for now we're not. So visibility of this is I can trigger from this guy. So if I connect it right now, I can't see it. I haven't screen tapped for now. Okay. So why is that? It's because it will only turn on if I screen tap. Right now, the logic says if it will only turn on if I screen tap. And if I do that once, it will be turned forever. There's nothing, there's no changing back now. It can't go back. You have to refresh it to go it back. So if once it is enabled, it is not going to come back because I've always did it turn on. If I do a flip, it's going to flip. If I come back and go on every alternate tap, like come back, go, come back, go, come back, go, like that. So I'm not going. So what I want is that when the filter loads, the question should be there. But if I screen tap, then it should go away. That's the logic I want. So I would maybe do this, turn on, or maybe turn off, maybe turn on. Okay. But if I initially do that, it's not on. So I want it should be on at the initial. So whatever is coming out of it, maybe I'll negative it. Maybe I'll say the not signal. The not will enable it, right? If something was disabled and if I say no to it, then it's going to be opposite of that. So my truth becomes false and my false becomes the true value. So that is why now the question is visible. But if I screen tap now, it's not visible because you see, when I screen tap, the signal was turned on. And since I'm using this guy, this is like one time thing. Like if this is on, then this is not going to change because this is just one connection. Every time it is going to give you a pulse and every time it is going to give you a turn on. So the turn on is not going to be turn off or anything else, right? We're done with that. We have our this thing, like every time we do this, it can, go back. So step 2 is done. Now we want to do is that, okay, you're gone, but let me show my options now. Okay, so I want to show my options. So I would want to have another 2D tags and I will say the answers. Okay, and the answers would be, okay, the position also should be the same as okay. So a position, I'm just gonna give it similar to this. And also the sizing is so that they're kind of similar place. Okay. Now you can choose to change the fonts and colors and everything, but I'm not giving it the priority at the moment. Now my options are always, one of the options from here. So my text, I know that it is going to be from here, right? So by default, my answer is always a procrastinator. Okay. But I don't want that to happen. First of all, if I now, so yahan tak everybody knows, everybody's clear from here, like until here. Quickly. Yeah, good. Thanks, Divya. All right. So now the next thing we want to do is that we want to refresh the filter. What we did is we added the answers text. So if I refresh it, I see that my answer is always visible. My question is visible. That is okay. I wanted that. But why my answer is visible? So my answer should be visible after the screen tap, right? So I will take the visibility of the answer and put it here. right? Because not is going for the question, but this should go for the answer. All right. This logic is clear? I mean, okay. Let me know if anything is not clear. You can just ask me anytime. Okay. If I screen tap now, the procrastinator comes. Okay. Again, also you can kind of choose to give it a delay. Let's say maybe just like so that it appears in a while, not just like just you click it and it appears. So maybe just give it a delay of 0.3 seconds. That should work as well. Yeah. Um, keep them distant and everything so that we are always clear what we're doing with. This is the visibility part and this is the answer part. Now, as soon as I screen tap, I also want to show the answers, and not just this, I want to show multiple answers like, hey, show me a randomizer. Okay. Now understand the logic of the randomizer. This is going to be, these all were simple. Now the logic of randomizer is something that we're going to work on. So when this screen tap happens, it should turn on an animation. Okay. Animation is like we want to repeat some sort of things, or we want to go from one value to another value. So that's why we're calling it an animation. This animation should give me a transition. My options are from 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I have 4 options. So I want to go from 0 to 4. Okay, and I want to keep going. And how much time do you want to go for? We decided we want to randomize it for 8 seconds. So we will do that. This animation should go from 1 to 8 seconds. And that happens. There should be a progress value. Loop animation as well. Okay, so whenever this thing happens, whenever this screen tap enables, this should enable this animation. All right, and this is should also, let me just take this separately so we not get confused. Okay, don't see anything else, just see, look at this. All right, so whenever this screen tap happens, I want this animation to play for 6 seconds. And I also want one more animation, like I don't want to just go from 0 to 4. Instead, I want to pick 0 to 4 values in, let's say, every zero point 0.5 seconds, so that in those 8 seconds I can keep showing values to like number by number, like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So I want to randomize. How can I do that? I want to randomize. There's a random patch which gives you values from some values like 0 to 1. Then it will give you lots of values from 0 to 1, like 0 0.5, 0 0.3, like this. But I want to go from 0 to 4. Okay. You can take a round value. Okay. Then this will give you an output. Or you can take a floor value as well. This will give you, this is simple maths, like what is I'm just connecting these for now, and this is a value that I am going to give. So let's say if I have 0.5, then the round will give you 1, but the floor will give you 0. Like if I have 0.6, then both of them, like the round is always like, if I have 0.4, this will also give me 0. But if I have 0.5 or greater than that, that is round, this will round it up like, hey, this is 1, this is more than, this is closer to 1. But floor is like, hey, I don't care about the decimal. So whatever is like 0.2, I'll just gonna care about the zero. So if it is even 0.99, this is still is going to be zero. So if my end range is 4, the floor would never give me 4. Okay. But the round will give me. So for this one, we will use the round thing. Okay, so you see that in every 1 second, this is completing and it is randomizing it a value and it is giving me 2, 0, something, right? Um, if I connect this to this guy here, this will select a number and it will change it. It will change the thing that we have selected there. But this is not the entire idea of our filter. First of all, there's some things I want to change about it. Those things are, it is pretty slow. It is kind of not giving me that surprising element. So I want to like, instead of 1 second, sorry, instead of 1 second duration of loop animation, I want to go for like 0.2. So now it is faster. Now it is like making me, now I want to stop when I want to stop, right? So this thing is clear, this thing is clear. Cool. Now my entire animation is this, my short animation is this. Okay. um if I just disable this, it's gonna stop. Right now it's stopped at innovative, and I want to disable this at the end of 8 second. Okay, the 8th of 8 second. So when is my animation is complete? Okay, I cannot directly connect it. There has to be a switch. So sorry about the loud music. Uh, okay, so whenever this animation completes, it should give me a turn on pulse, and which should actually disable this guy. Okay, so this is going to be similar to how our the initial procrastinator was working. Yep. Yeah, you can connect to turn off. You can connect to turn off, but I think so. That's what I showed you there, right? If you connect it to the turn off and don't connect it to the not, so this means that it is always on. So if I start it, this will always be on. This was like, I don't have a control on that. Like, so if I, so it is right now, it is not on, right? I haven't really, because if you're putting it to turn off, then when are you going to on this? Like, there is no option. Like, if there's a pulse which is giving you turn off and initially there's no input, there cannot be a way that you can ever turn it on. So turn it off, we mostly use it to change the output of this guy. But initially you may want to turn it on and then use not. So even if you use turn off, you would have to use not, but not in this case. Understood, Divya? Yeah. But good question, really good question. Keep them coming. Okay. Um, yeah, I refreshed it. Okay, I refreshed it and I want to check that if I screen tab, I have a delay, I have a randomizer, and that randomizer ends after 8 seconds and it ends wherever it wants to at creative. Okay. um, Now we'll try to summarize things and create a logic, like what was actually happening and what did we change. So let's see things that all together. Just try to arrange things like whenever you can. So, all right. So first thing we did was to put our question and answer into perspective. Then we did was that, hey, what should happen when you screen tap at the first time? The game should start, right? So I don't want to use two say now. That was just for representation. Um, we could just use to optimize it. Just one tap is enough because the same thing. Those both are the same thing. Um, then what's happening is that the question should be invisible after the screen tap, and this guy answer should be visible after a delay of 0.3. When the delay happens, when this appears, and when this appears, there's a animation going on. An animation is uh, turning on a 8 seconds is large, so an animation is turning on for 8 seconds, in which every 2 seconds there's a randomizer which is giving me a value out of one of these options, and that I'm passing to my text, which is an answer. So such a simple thing, now this logic is never going to change. Okay, this logic is always going to be the same. I mean, for any kind of effect you make, it's just the design that you can put in. So maybe so randomizer effect was until here. Okay, now what you do with this is your choice, because I told you initially, Divya asked a question about volume going from 0 to 1. Same thing, like I have this number and I can pass it the way I want to. I want to use it in a, like, hey, option. I want to use it in a, I don't know, maybe equals exactly whatever, like if it is equals to, exactly equals to something, or let's say this numbers comes to maybe if 3, then show something, like I can do anything with this. So because this is the output of the randomizer, and when that comes, I can always trigger events that I want to. So is this clear? So very simple logic, very simple thing, but still, if you have any doubts, let me know. Simple as in it's simple to do because it's small, but still the logic can be a little bit tricky. So you can ask me if anything that you think is not clear yet. Anybody, any questions? Okay. Now I want to optimize this effect. I want to like do things. So yeah, let's discuss that also. How can you optimize this? What are your suggestions? It's a very simple effect, and the way you have to have show a question and show 5 options. Those are there. Now, how can you optimize it? So I'll go first, and everybody has to give a suggestion. My first suggestion: the font of the answer and the font of the question is not the same, so we have to change that. So I'm changing it. Meanwhile, you can think of one and can go one by one. You can raise your hands if you want to go first. All right, Divya, let's wait while everybody's thinking. And meanwhile, I'm just change the font of this guy. So here the question was 24 and this was 40. So I'll make it to 24.
We can add some background music, slow, like instrumental or something,
Okay.
and we can also change the color of the fonts, something gradient, like whatever texture. Or,
Color of the font.
yeah, color, or we can give the texture like gradient texture and something like that.
Okay. So let's do things one by one. This was Divya suggesting, right? Yeah. Okay. Rupal, let's implement the like whatever suggestions that we just got, and then we'll come to you. Okay. Meanwhile, everybody gets some time to think on. So Divya suggested that we should have some background while the randomization is going on. Yes, Divya, your hand.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you raised your hand. Okay. Cool. So I want to have some music. I can quickly go to the library and have some music here, or I can choose to import my music from outside. We discussed some ways to do it in our previous classes.
Yeah.
Uh, there is this guy. So for 14 seconds, I'm looking for a music which goes for like maybe 9 seconds more. You can choose anything though, because they can be looped always. But let's see, how is this guy? Okay. Mm, okay, not so good. Okay, I'll go with this guy because I've heard this. This is a big continuation music. Okay. Uh, so we imported a one which is 14 seconds. So I'll delete the other one, and I will kind of want to add something, an animation controller, sorry, audio playback controller, which is my playback controller for the audio. And I would say like random music, because this music is going to be played when the randomizer effect is going on, like the randomization going on. This should have the audio that we just added. If I play it, it's gonna play. No, because I don't have a speaker which knows that I have audio playback and a music. Now it does. So it is playing always. I don't want that. It should only play when my screen tap is happening or my randomization is happening. Uh,
Randomization.
Randomization is happening. Okay.
Yeah.
But once the user shows the results, do you want to play like a different music or what?
Yeah,
So
we can add that. Yeah.
we can add that, but for now we'll keep it limited. So
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
would do is that as soon as the randomization starts, we
Yeah.
will start playing the music and it will keep going. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So that's what is happening here. If I screen tap and if I turn on and if I connect this guy here, it should give me. So notice that the answers would be visible after a delay. So we could also do that. That hey, or maybe music can come first and then answers can come later. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start this. Perfect. Okay. Suggestion two was to change the color of the text. You can add some gradients. I'm only taking the second suggestion because I really want you to learn how to use gradients and change colors and then kind of. Right now the color is black, and if I go for white color, this is going to become white as well. I'm just going to bring it out here, and there are some gradients that you can use, maybe gradient step or gradient use. The gradients are kind of, yeah, it's not this output cannot go as a color because it's probably giving you an alpha. So let's say if I have a mix patch which has two colors, the color one is my red color or maybe orange color, and this is my green color. Okay. And this gradient should be the alpha, and then that color can go. Okay. We just crashed our spark. I really hope the project doesn't lose anything. Okay, cool. All right, I'm just gonna save it because next time it happens, we're not. Mm, cool. Um, So color is a different thing. So why is that? Okay, so we can't directly use this guy. So we have to use a gradient step to convert this guy into a gradient.
Sorry, screen is not visible.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Let me. Is it visible now?
Yeah.
All right, all right. So what I did is that I kind of connected a smooth step, which is really not necessary though. But let's. So this gradient is going to give me a value of the gradient, like where should the white be, where should the black be, and we discussed this in last class as well. So my gradient should be horizontal, so that is why I'm passing it right now, and the gradient should be going here. All right, now it doesn't give us the error. Okay. Maybe this text is giving me a little bit of weird output. So we would have to choose an alternate way to do it. That would be add a material to this guy. And if I add a material, the material should take care of that. So if I do this now, the same thing, it should not be a problem, right? Because that is a shader generic signal that was troubling us. So we can't directly pass that to. Now, if you already can see the gradients, is it visible? Like,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
visible.
yeah, cool. So, but you can change it. You can kind of change it to maybe vertical or maybe circular, whatever you like. All right, so this is for adding the gradients. What I initially did and wanted to do was to use the color by default. But again, this is a shader generic signal. That's what the error told us. So we can't do that from here. So there would be some other ways to do that, but an alternative would be to apply a material and give that a texture of a different color. Now, Rupal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my suggestion was like somewhat an addition to the last suggestion. Like the color has changed. I had this kind of doubt if the background is say black only, then the text won't be uh, like visible. So what if we can just have a block and over that the text is there?
Interesting. Very good idea. So what you're saying is that let's have a
Yeah.
rectangle, and this rectangle should be in the back of this guy, should have similar positions and similar widths, and been should be animating as well. Should have material as well, which is a background. Okay, I'm gonna quickly rename these guys because later on it's gonna be confusing. So this is Matt question, and this is Matt BG. And every time you add something, you should refresh it. This rectangle is right now is very big, is because we have chosen to it be very big. So what we can do is we can have like 200 by 200. That's very small. Maybe 400 by 200 is okay. And we can't change that. Okay, cool. So this position of this guy is controlled by this. So we have to, again, there's one more thing that we can do. We can kind of pick these and make them child of this guy. And if that happens, where is our question? There's some bug. We can't see a question here.
If we can't animate the rectangle, just put it static behind the person as a background.
As a background, yeah, we can do that. But I would
Yeah.
want to go with the Rupal suggestions, because that was also a nice suggestion. Because having a background, that's fine, but having a different background for your text is also a very good idea. And that is possible. That is not a problem. It's just this thing is having some bugs. I can't see this question on the. You can see this, right? There's nothing here, but you can see that there's something. If you go the, yeah, so this is some new bug that I'm facing here. All right, so this rectangle, its position is everything is like we're gonna do the same thing that we did with other participants. It's so basically it's at the corner right now, but if I do this like 400 and 200, and also I can have another rectangle into it. So rectangle into rectangle works like a null object, you know that? So like this is going to be acting like a null object now. So if I move this here, okay, and I'm just going to add a material which has nothing, like a transparent material, okay? Because this rectangle is just a holder for me, and this is my BG rect. Okay, so BG rect has a mat BG, but this guy should have a material which is kind of transparent. So this is, I'm going to say that mat transparent, right? And this is transparent, and so we just have to decrease the opacity of this guy and apply it to the main holder. Trans. So we are, yeah. Now only thing is our question is in the back. So maybe that would fix it. No, that would never fix it. Creative. Or we have to check the material of this guy. Okay. Okay. And transparent doesn't matter. The questions should become at the top, and the background is always in the back. So if I say that, hey, questions, just don't care about the depth, then this should like come in front. Interesting. All right. So we have the background now. There's a little bit of unwanted rotation here that we're going to remove. And also like this. Yeah, so we have the background. We can optimize it to kind of make it round also, but not like this. Like if you want to make it round and everything, then we have to use SDFs, and then those also we discussed in last class. So is that what we wanted, Rupal?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I was actually thinking like if this comes and the answer comes in, say something different, like with the background, of course. Like we had this a rectangle, and then we can maybe have a thought cloud or something of that sort for the answer. But yeah, that
Yeah,
yeah.
I understand your point, and that is good that you can do. So basically, what we have to do is that understand this. Okay, whatever comes with our answers goes with this guy. Just keep their visibility here, and whatever comes with our questions, keep the visibility with this knot. So right now, if I want to um, right now, if I want to, let's say, remove this background as soon as my question goes away, what I have to do with that, I would also add this visibility here to the questions. All right. So right now this is visible, but if I tap, it should be gone. What should appear then? Maybe a different holder like this. I'll just duplicate it. Hmm. Okay, this is going to be holder of answers, and this should have a this should have a transparent background. Doesn't matter. Oh, my face is funny right now. Okay, cool. uh, this background, and the background rect is with the answers, so that's why I gave it a different name. Should have a different color, so I'm going to duplicate this guy also, and I'm just going to say answers. Give it a color, like maybe a different color for now. I know that you wanted a thought bubble or something, but just to explain you like how we can make a different background to pop up, we could do this
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I got your point. Like we can, of course, change the shapes if we know how to put it differently for a question, and then for an answer, we can beautify it.
Right,
Then, yeah,
right.
got your point.
So yeah, and we would also have to trigger its visibility, and that would be with the answers. Okay, so I will just to keep it simple, like I don't want to every time think like, hey, where should this go? Where should that go? But my question and answers are like my checkpoints. Like, hey, this is where I want to show this. This is where I don't want to hide this. So uh, I have to shift it in the middle, and also give the answers to this. Yep, and I think you can do some sort of manipulations more. No, that's not like, okay, cool. All right, who wanna go next? Sambhav, you also raised your hands. Am I audible at all?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Do we have any more suggestions? Or okay, no worries. What I would ideally would have done is that maybe uh, when the question comes, I don't usually use the backgrounds, but that's a good idea to kind of go with them, because the backgrounds are like every question or answers, they have a different size. The questions are usually same, but the answers are like they're different. So they're like either the background should change, or but it's again it's totally design choice. It nothing has nothing. There's no good or bad practice. This is totally design choice. So whatever you want to do with this, you can like you can have a thought bubble. That's a brilliant idea as well. Thought bubbles have those answers and like the thinking and maybe the thought bubbles and they're like blinking. So those things can be done. Uh, and also like just setting it off a bit, like just offsetting a bit. So initially the question appears here, but when the filters start, it just goes a little bit up and the answer starts coming at the bottom. So that is also a good implementation that you can try with this one. For that, we just have to manipulate the position of this guy and not hide it. All right, we not hide right now. We are hiding it after screen tap, but in that case, we will just position it little bit up and not hide it.
Um, yeah, so what you're saying is, if right now what is like it is happening is the question comes first, and then there are options that comes, and then the answer comes, so we can just keep the question still, and the options changes, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah, but the position of we can like kind of take the position just as a little bit upward. Um, I can kind of show it to you guys. Like I don't have an issue. Wait. So let's say when I want to do is I don't want to change the X. I want to change the Y. I want to change the Y is that from 220, let's go for like maybe 260. All right. So I want to go for like 260. And I want to go 260 as soon as this thing happens. So, and that is only true for my question. Yeah, that's where I want to go. I want to also take my background with me. Yeah. And in that case, my background should be not as big as this. And my position should be very cool. Cool. And this should happen when, all right, so this should be added to this. Okay. Oh, okay. So I'll have to do is add 40 to this. Cool. And then this should only happen when this is enabled. So for this, I would have to use another method, like say like, hey, if then else. So if then else, if it is not true, then this. So vector 3 position. If not true, vector 2 position. If not true, then this. If true, then this. Sorry, it looks a little bit messy, but don't worry. The condition should be this, okay? And if it is not true, then it should be at the below position. So what happens is that when I screen tap, it also, there's a thing that we have our visibility of questions disabled. So now we want to keep it. Now another thing that now it just goes up, like, you know, so you can use transitions here. You can kind of use an animation where we are adding here 40. So we kind of like trigger an animation which goes from like, hey, add 0, 1, 2, 3, and then maybe a transition that can add something like uh, animation. This is just going to be so messy. I mean, but I hope you get the point. Like, so from 0 to minus 40, just 40, minus 40. Yeah. And should be a sinusoidal in and out. Yeah, we can change always these values, right? Yep, I hope this is clear. There was nothing fancy. There was no new logic that we did today, but it was just like something that randomizer effects all have in common. And always try to arrange your patches so that if you want to make some further changes, you can always, it's easier for you to understand like what are you doing. You can use sender patches, sender and receiver to kind of like, let's say I want to take away this information. So I'll just use a sender button and I'll just go here and I'll ask for my receiver to receive it rather than going for like long wires. All right, this was about randomizer effect. Any thoughts, any questions, any suggestions that you want to go for? Yep. Divya, any questions? Okay. Well, I think we will let you know about the assignments, and there would be a last session after this, and I want to keep it like a open session that anything that you want to ask, that how was this effect made, or like it's better that you try things out rather than just like bring a fact and like, hey, tell us like how to do about it. Rather, I would love it if you have already tried it. I would like to know your approach and improve it, because everybody do things with a lot of different approaches. If you have seen that it is not a very traditional approach to kind of use rectangle as a null object, but we did it here, right? So it's just based on whatever your requirements are. We were not getting the color in the directly in the text, right? So we used a material to do it. So there always are improvisations, there always are compromises to the traditional techniques. And I would say there is always an innovation. It's not a compromise. There's always an innovation as a new way to do it. So I would really like it if you like some effect, then try it out, try to make it on, maybe make something original based on the randomizer effect, or maybe try some things out that people have put out, and then maybe if you get an inspiration from somewhere and you want to do it, then try it out. And next week is because of the final session, and I want you to get most out of it. So yeah, I hope we meet next week, and you can think about anything that comes in the spark, and you can ask me on that day. Besides it, I think let me just confirm what else we have planned for session 1. Do you want this file anyway? I don't think it's so much important because right now it's so messy, but I'll send it anyway on WhatsApp. I'm gonna stop sharing, and I think we have kind of covered everything. We just don't have covered. We didn't have covered right now is deformation, and rest of the things are already been covered. If you want to go for like hand tracking and segmentation, like body tracking, because they just released like last week, we can talk about them as well. And are you taking part in the hackathon, the XR hackathon?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's good to know. That's good to know. Because I tell you, like a lot of people made a lot of money and a lot of exposure that they've gotten out of these hackathons. Because when you try to do something with an open mind, there's no boss over you. There's nobody, like doing anything. You just you just become open to learn so many new things. And I also have learned from participating in hackathons. No matter you fail, no matter you not come up, no matter you don't win, but you get to learn so much. You get to do some things with open mind, and this is important. This is important. Teaches us a lot in terms of like a creator's perspective. I would really want to take part in hackathon, even if I'm not getting paid. But eventually you will. Eventually things will come around, and they've started coming around for me now. So like, yeah, you should like definitely try and take part. If you don't have a teammate yet, get a teammate. Like maybe sometimes it's difficult to go alone, then maybe a teammate can help you in that. So you really hope you, yeah, let me know what you make out of the hackathons. And if you have any doubts, any problems while making some things from these hackathon, you can reach out on my WhatsApp.
I wanted to ask you something not related to the effect, but actually we are organizing one of the hackathons, like with here as the campus lead. So I wanted to ask if you would be on like one